American aircraft carrier intercepts Chinese spy submarine. Then this happened. The USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group was steadily navigating the turbulent waters of the South China Sea. The flagship, the majestic USS Ronald Reagan, led the group with precision. Suddenly, the AN/SQS-53C acoustic detection system, a critical component of anti-submarine warfare, triggered an alarm. The tense silence filled the command center, but only for a moment. Contact! The operator's voice rang out, breaking the stillness like a gunshot. Data was instantly transmitted to the Combat Information Center, where a computer swiftly analyzed the acoustic signature of the target. It was identified as a Chinese Type 093 Shang-class submarine. The alarm rippled through the fleet, prompting cruisers and destroyers to reposition themselves, preparing for potential conflict. What happened next? Stay with us as we delve into this incredible story filled with intrigue, cutting-edge technology, and the ever-present possibility of a clash between global superpowers. When it comes to confrontations between major powers in contested waters, history reminds us of ominous warning signs. The South China Sea has long been a theater for power plays, with each incident resembling a powder keg waiting for a spark. In 2001, a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft, the EP-3, collided with a Chinese fighter jet that crossed its path. The crash resulted in the death of the Chinese pilot and forced the EP-3 to make an emergency landing on Hainan Island. China detained the crew for 11 days, sparkling a diplomatic crisis. Another example is the 2013 incident where the Chinese aircraft carrier Liaoning and its escort ships attempted to block the U.S. cruiser USS Cowpens, resulting in dangerously close maneuvers. Over the last few decades, China has not only bolstered its military capabilities, but also undertaken large-scale operations to militarize disputed territories. Artificial islands equipped with missile systems and airstrips serve as stark reminders that Beijing is prepared to defend its interests at any cost. The U.S., on the other hand, sends a clear message: freedom of navigation in international waters is non-negotiable. American carrier strike groups regularly patrol near disputed areas, challenging China's ambitions. Each new incident, from Chinese ships maneuvering dangerously close to American vessels to the harassment of Southeast Asian fishing boats, adds fuel to the fire. The South China Sea has become a testing ground not only for military strength, but also for political resolve. With tensions escalating, the question is not whether a new conflict will occur, but when and how far it will go. History makes it clear. With each passing year, the risk of a local incident escalating into a global catastrophe grows. Could a severe incident like the interception of a Chinese military aircraft by an American carrier strike group, the capture of a Chinese spy vessel, or the interception of a Chinese spy submarine be the tipping point? Today, we'll focus on the last scenario. Let's start with the technical aspects of this incident. When a massive U.S. carrier strike group enters contested waters, it resembles a floating fortress moving across the ocean. Such a sight can leave even the most confident adversaries in awe. But what happens when it encounters a silent, nearly invisible foe, a Chinese spy submarine? Let's analyze which side is better prepared for this underwater game of cat and mouse. The first player in this dangerous game is the U.S. carrier strike group. At its center is the aircraft carrier, a massive ship capable of carrying dozens of fighter jets, reconnaissance planes, and anti-submarine aircraft. It's accompanied by destroyers, cruisers, nuclear submarines, and supply ships. Each vessel is equipped with advanced radar, sonar, and surveillance systems. The group's anti-submarine capabilities deserve special attention. Leading the charge is the AN/SQQ-89 system, the brain of anti-submarine defense on destroyers, capable of identifying underwater objects at great depths. This brain is complemented by P-8 Poseidon aircraft submarine hunters equipped with powerful sonars and torpedoes. They can scan vast areas and detect even the most elusive targets. Finally, there are multifunctional drones, the latest weapon capable of silently tracking underwater targets. With these technologies, the American group becomes an all-seeing eye, monitoring everything happening within hundreds of miles below the ocean's surface. However, underestimating the Chinese Navy would be a mistake. Submarines like the Type 093 and the newer Type 095 are equipped with noise reduction systems, making them true ghosts of the ocean. These machines can remain undetected by most standard detection systems, moving through underwater cannons or using thermoclines, natural temperature layers in water that mask their traces. Additionally, Chinese submarines often work in tandem with maritime drones and coastal stations, creating a complex reconnaissance network. This allows them not only to gather information on enemy movements, but also to evade pursuit when necessary. In the case of a Chinese submarine interception, the U.S. group would likely play to its strengths: superiority in aviation and precision equipment. But could this advantage hold in the challenging conditions of the South China Sea, where the depths are filled with natural hiding spots for submarines? The U.S. has scale and technological power on its side. China has local advantages, regional knowledge, and the determination to protect its interests at all costs. Technically, this duel shows that the situation could unfold unpredictably. The smallest mistake or misstep in strategy could lead to disaster for both crews and global stability. When the American strike group detects a Chinese spy submarine, a tense cat-and-mouse game begins, one that could end fatally not only for its participants, but for the entire planet. This isn't just a military episode, it's a chess match, where the stakes are nothing less than the stability of an entire region. Let's break down a likely scenario minute by minute. The first act is detection. It all starts with a signal. The sonar on one of the U.S. destroyers detects unusual movements in the depths. It could be a school of fish or a natural object, but operators know that there are no coincidences in these waters. The discovery is classified as high probability of a submarine presence. P-8 Poseidon aircraft are immediately deployed to scan the area. Sonobuoys are dropped, and every second of analysis brings the confirmation closer. It's a Chinese submarine. Its signature matches known models, and now the task is to determine its intentions. The second act involves a warning. American ships send a standard message through international communication channels. Unidentified submarine, you are violating international law. Surface immediately and identify yourself. There's no response. The submarine remains a silent ghost, heightening suspicions. This is neither a drill nor an accidental mistake. It's a deliberate operation. The U.S. destroyers begin closing in on the submarine's suspected location, demonstrating strength and readiness for further action. The third act sees the submarine making a risky maneuver. The Chinese crew isn't ready to surrender. The submarine dives deeper or attempts to hide in a thermocline. Such sharp movements increase the risk of collision. History is full of examples of submarine collisions, such as the 2001 USS Greenville incident near Hawaii, or the 1992 collision between the USS Baton Rouge and a Russian submarine in the Barents Sea. The U.S. group, which includes a nuclear-powered submarine, remains vigilant. When two submarines maneuver in tight spaces, collisions can happen. Incidents like the 2009 collision between British and French submarines, HMS Vanguard and Le Triomphant, underline the risks of such situations. And of course, the tragic story of the Russian nuclear submarine Kursk comes to mind. In 2000, the Kursk sank in the Barents Sea and its entire crew perished. While the official cause was said to be a technical malfunction, there's a well-supported theory suggesting that the Kursk collided with one of the American submarines, either the USS Toledo or USS Memphis, which were monitoring Russian naval exercises. The incident shows just how dangerous such encounters can be. If the Chinese submarine's equipped with anti-ship torpedoes or missiles, it might attempt a diversion, creating false targets or maneuvering closer to signal its readiness for escalation. The fourth act involves escalation or the attempt to control the situation. This is the most dangerous phase. The U.S. ships might decide to demonstrate their strength by dropping practice depth charges near the submarine to force it to surface. This could be perceived as an act of aggression. Conversely, the Chinese submarine might claim it's operating in its own territorial waters, creating a diplomatic standoff. Every action in this phase risks triggering significant consequences. The first outcome, thankfully the most likely, sees the Chinese submarine retreating. While the immediate tension subsides, it sends a clear message that such incidents will continue. Beijing would keep testing Washington's resolve. The second outcome involves the submarine surfacing, leading to negotiations. The situation ends with strong statements in the media and diplomatic protests, but without casualties. The third and most dangerous outcome is escalation. One possible scenario is an accidental collision between vessels, damaging or even sinking the submarine. If casualties occur, the reaction might remain diplomatic and economic, with China imposing sanctions against the U.S. Another scenario could see the commander of the Chinese submarine interpreting the situation as deliberate aggression. If this happens, the submarine might launch a torpedo at a U.S. vessel. If the Americans manage to neutralize or evade the torpedo, the incident might conclude with a dramatic diplomatic fallout. However, if the attack damages or sinks an American ship, it could trigger a chase to destroy the submarine. In the case of Escalation, China's response is critical. Should the submarine and its crew be lost, Beijing might choose to retaliate militarily. This could include strikes on American ships in the region using long-range missiles like the DF-21D, also known as the Carrier Killer. With a range exceeding 900 miles and hypersonic speeds, these missiles are notoriously difficult to intercept. China could also leverage its military infrastructure in the region. Artificial islands and coastal bases house aircraft like the J-11B and J-16, as well as strategic bombers capable of deploying long-range missiles. Combined, these forces could mount a large-scale assault on American naval forces. In such a scenario, Washington might face a hard choice: respond militarily or seek diplomatic de-escalation. Either option risks significant global consequences. A military response could escalate into a full-scale war. A diplomatic retreat, on the other hand, might embolden China and signal a shift in the global balance of power. This strategy of provoking incidents in the South China Sea is a calculated move by Beijing. By doing so, China sends a message to the world. We are not afraid of the U.S. We are their equal in military strength. Such a strategy places China in a stronger position. For the U.S., maintaining a firm stance is vital. Failing to respond decisively could undermine its global leadership, signaling the end of the unipolar world order. As tensions rise, the question remains: how far are both sides willing to go to defend their interests? Humanity's closer to the brink of catastrophe than ever before. The doomsday clock stands at 90 seconds to midnight. Will cooler heads prevail? Or are we heading towards a crisis that could reshape global history? What do you think? Could incidents like this spark a larger conflict? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more in-depth explorations of the world's most critical geopolitical challenges.